It's the beginning of our day. Something that's still reverberating in my mind from last week and going to Beth's investiture as a chaplain when Gil Fronsdale conducted the ceremony, and it was centered around very important fundamentals, the refuges, precepts, but also the 10 courses of wholesome action. And that, I think that's an important reflection as we go about our day, our life of living our practice on a day-to-day basis. The Kusala Kamapata is what it's formally called. So these are wholesome karma that we can be establishing ourselves in, and of course it covers pretty much everything in the sense of, and it's put in the apophatic mode of what not to do, refraining from taking life-harming living creatures, refraining from taking what's not given, refraining from exceeding boundaries in sensual sense pleasures. But then, of course, using that mode is realizing that when we, if you mandate something, you've got to do something. Like you've got to be kind to all creatures at all times, then you're sunk. You just give up. But but to from harming is then that opens the doorways for, if not kindness, then at least restraint, to be recollecting and to delight in fact. Okay. Because on a daily basis, that's one of the things that, say, of living a monastic life. Say I can look back on 45 years of living in a monastery, and I've lived a really harmless life. And it's really quite. That's pretty rare on the human level. The areas of speech, refraining from false speech, refraining from gossip, slander, and especially as monastics, our life is fairly limited in what we can do. We don't have distractions and entertainments or whatnot, and then human nature being what it is, and people fill in the gaps of entertainment by, did you hear about so and so? Did you hear about? And you know what they're doing over in that monastery. Even if it's monasteries, it's still sort of gossip and slander. What this teacher did, I don't know. So it just is a refraining from that kind of energy, because it is divisive and negative, and refraining from harsh speech, and it's just learning how to express a certain kindness and gentleness through our speech, rather than just sort of being in each other's faces. It's not a beautiful way to exist, and particularly as a community that, as you're developing you're trying to develop refined mental states of peace and clarity, that speech reverberates in the mind for a long time, and to be sensitive to your own speech, how it affects yourself, but how it affects others as well. So, just say idle chatter, kind of, and it's you don't even have to understand the Pali language to get the sense of what kind of speech this precept or this course of action is trying to preclude the Pali is sambapalapa, so you can get the onomatopoeic sense of the what's going on. It's just this blabbering, just for the sake of something or other. And then on those are say the courses of physical action, courses of verbal action, and then courses of mental action, refraining from covetousness, that sense of the mind going out and seeking something that one wants, desires, and it's just curbing sensual desire. Because there's especially as monastics and practitioners, you realize that when the mind is not going out to gratify, then or to stimulate, to excite in some way, what you start to sort of feel is this, desire, like this sort of ball of desire in the heart, looking for an object, and to be able to learn how to be present with that rather than having that compulsion to follow it. And that is one is very settling, and one is very insightful of how we are constantly pulled and driven. Establishing oneself in non-ill will, not feeding the tendency to irritation, aversion, critical nature that we have, whether it's directed towards others or directed toward ourselves. It's still ill will, it's still aversion, unsettling, and it's divisive. The last one around refraining from wrong view. So reflecting and investigating. Well, what is right view from the Buddhist perspective, and understanding that sense of what is it that accords with Dhamma? What is it that there's a certain slipperiness to that, in the sense of you can't. It's hard to define exactly. Okay, what is right view? But it's important is paying attention to when our view is right, what does it feel like? And that's how because it's like the way Ajahn Chah used to express it is that sense of when our right view is a view that accords with truth, and when something accords with truth, then there is a settled and peaceful, clear quality of mind. There's a very strong sense of peace and well-being. So that and of course the opposite is like wrong view. When we're viewing things in the wrong view, not in accord with Dhamma, it's going to be unsettled. There's going to be some level of dissatisfaction there, discontent. So that learning how to pay attention to these, this is how we're creating kamma. So that these 10 courses of action, speech and mind, and learning how to practice, investigate, internalize how to establish ourselves in these courses of wholesome action.